Hello, Ellen. Can you hear us?
He's connecting to audio, it says.
Hey, Tim. Hi,
There you go.
Kathleen.
Hey,
Hey, Ellen, how are you?
Good. Well, thanks for joining me here today. You can hear me okay?
We sure can.
Good, cool. Well, I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the work that you have done in the past 30 years, 40. How long have you been doing this, Tim?
31 years.
31 years. Wow.
Actually, I guess you could probably figure 32, a little bit more, but
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is a book that really helped me start this fantastic book on Portland Headlight.
oh, super.
I still have the Lighthouse Digest price tag on there. And that really opened my eyes to Maine lighthouses, and you've been an inspiration to a lot of people, including me, to just well, we got married at a lighthouse in Marshall Point, my wife and I, and that's what started this whole business. And just reading more about lighthouses and stuff. So
We're glad that we were able to guide you into the world of lighthouses.
yes, thank you. And you have been a recipient of many awards over the years of providing, well, assisting with the saving of New England lighthouses. The act, right? What was it called?
I got the
National Lighthouse Preservation
I got
Act.
the national. Well, you're
Is that
talking.
the one you're talking about? That
Yes. I mean, you've done so much as a caretaker of and bring so much awareness to Maine lighthouses, and people treasure them, but they really didn't realize how bad things have been deteriorating over the decades. And
When we started, it was a lot worse than it is today, but there's still a lot more to do. There's so many lighthouses that are still in danger.
Yeah.
And we started a movement, which we didn't know we were starting a movement.
yeah,
We did it with a book, and in the back of our book, we had people asking if they wanted to subscribe to our magazine, which we didn't have one.
Yeah.
And Kathy said, "How are we going to do a magazine? We don't even know what we're doing." And I said, "Oh, we'll see what happens." And we had 34 people.
Yep,
34 people send in a subscription form. And Kathy said, "Well, that's not enough people to, start a magazine." I said, "Sure it is. We'll go ahead and start with those 34 people." And we printed up our first issue, and we printed up like 3,000 copies. We went up and down the coast of Maine and dropped them off everywhere, free samples, and with a subscription form, and they started coming in. I said, "I think we've hit on something."
Yeah.
And it all started because when we were visiting lighthouses, sometimes we would go to them and there'd be nothing there. I mean, you didn't know anything about it. You went to the lighthouse, here it was. We didn't know the history about it. We didn't know who lived there, what kind of stories there were about these families. I said, somebody's got to write about this and record it. Yeah, there were a couple of books out there, early books, but they really didn't delve into anything. They didn't do any real research.
Yeah.
They didn't, locate family photos and stuff like that. So that started our quest, and it's been going on ever since.
Yeah, and just like this book, which has so many pictures on it, so is Lighthouse Digest magazine. It's just lots of pictures, which is helpful. So, you want to read and you want to see it, but it's just generous in pictures and colors and fantastic photographs too, of like things you've never seen anywhere too. So
That's true. A lot of what we do publish is stuff that's never been published before and never been seen. And even in that Portland book that you have there's a lot of stuff in there that was never published or seen until that book came out.
yeah.
So we're pretty proud of that book, and it's been a pretty popular book down at Portland Headlight in their gift shop, and it's loaded with history. We got lucky though. We got lucky locating some of the photos, and some of the stuff we had just accumulated over the years and was in our files, which often happens. People would stop in and see us, or they mail us photos, and we just kept accumulating this stuff, and we still have it. And we have a lot of probably 5,000 or 10,000 photos in our files that have never been published yet. So we just haven't had time to do it. And
you have the largest collection of at least Maine or New England lighthouses, pictures and history, right?
Well, we have probably one of the largest in the United States of all lighthouses in the United States. Maybe not the largest collection, but the most comprehensive collection.
Yeah, wow, that's part of our cultural treasures. That's part of our history and part of of our country too. So it's just valuable. And you're doing some kind of digital like library sort of, or what's it called? The fund, which you're doing some kind of.
Well, we have the new nonprofit called Lighthouse History Research Institute, which is basically to raise money to keep Lighthouse Digest going and continue our research projects because it's costing so much money to do it today. And we are losing subscribers. Our subscriber base has dropped dramatically over the years as people have died off. And we're not replacing it with younger people who don't have the same kind of interest. They want instant gratification and they want to look at one picture and that's it. And that's why the magazine is so important. All the photographs that we have in there, we try to have a lot of photographs with captions because people tend to read the captions rather than the whole history and learn something about it. And we have the digital copy now, which is something as Kathy worked on for a long time to get our first digital edition done because everybody said, well, if you go digital, you have an online version of your magazine rather than a print version, you'll get a lot more subscribers. Everybody wants to read online. Well, we did that. We spent a ton of money doing it and nobody's interested in it. They still want the print magazine. So, you know.
There are a few that want both.
Yeah, I could see the benefit for both, you know, to have it on the iPad, but also just to have something like when you're reading in bed, you know. So and then so you created the Lighthouse Digest magazine, you've had it for 30 years, and you're looking possibly to just find a new owner for it and find this. What do you hope happens with Lighthouse Digest?
Well, you know, at this point, we'd like to find a new owner. You know, some nonprofits, for like example, like the American Lighthouse Foundation that Kathy and I co-founded back in 1994. We had a lot of people involved in that. We saved a lot of lighthouses. And I was president of the group for the first 13 years of its existence, and Kathy was the treasurer. And then we felt it was time to move on and let other people do it, and other people took over. Then we had the Museum of Lighthouse History that we founded to try to get that going. And then the American Lighthouse Foundation decided they didn't want a museum. So the museum got merged into the main Lighthouse Museum.
Right.
But so at least those artifacts got saved. And now I'm 76 years old, so I'm getting up there in years. And, you know, we need to find somebody else we'd like to take over the magazine.
Yeah.
Somebody else that has a passion for lighthouses and willing to do the research and because I can't do it forever, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'd like to live for another 100 years doing this, but that's not,
Right.
it's not, you know, it's not realistic. And I am starting to slow down a little bit. So, but we haven't had a whole lot of luck in anybody wanting to take it over or have an interest in publishing it. It's a lot of work to do it. You know, it's not, it's got to be a labor of love.
Yeah.
You know, as Kathy always says, you can always learn more about early American history by studying lighthouses than from any other single source.
Right. Where commerce is, where the money is, really, right?
Right. That's right.
There's the story where lighthouses were meant to be, well, it's just to protect, just to secure cargo, really. It wasn't to be pretty, but just to make sure that we had safe harbors to bring in and out merchandise and mercantile and all that.
And you could say that lighthouses were built for one purpose only, and that was to save lives. And obviously we had to save the lives in order to save the cargo that was coming in.
Right. Right, exactly.
That helped build our nation to the strongest nation that it is in the world. And, you know, by 1923, just to give you an example, by 1923, the U.S. Lighthouse Service had more employees decentralized outside of Washington, D.C. than any other branch of the government.
No.
So that shows you how big the Lighthouse Service was.
Wow. Yeah.
You know? And then you had the Lighthouse Service Airways Division, which eventually evolved into the FAA. So they were also guiding planes over the skies at night with days before radar and radio. So there's so much to learn. It's just, you know, and there's thousands of keepers we haven't researched yet.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to research these people and locate these families. And there's a lot of people out there that love lighthouses. They don't know about us.
Yeah.
They've never heard about us.
You should have maybe in every lighthouse, like because or a popular lighthouse where you have a little flyer or something, maybe, you know, I don't know, just a thought how that could
Well, we do give sample copies out,
Yeah.
to many lighthouses across the nation. And they'll put them out, and occasionally we'll get a new subscriber from it, but
Yeah. I
It's
wonder if
Kathy.
there's another example of like something historic that somebody's been successful with, because it's a tough nut to crack to figure out how do we get this amazing information out there to more accessible and where you could have enough to sustain the business, something historical, something in the past or something. Because everything's in social media is all just like new stuff and silly, dumb stuff and cats running
Right.
around. But where's more substantive things, how has that technology helped other kind of similar industries or so, or, I know newspapers are going digital now, it's a subscription. But I don't know, that's something to figure out for sure.
Yeah, it's been difficult because, years ago, we would send out a press release about something we discovered, and all the papers would pick it up, the TV stations would pick it up, and do it. Nowadays, we send out press releases, they don't even publish our stuff.
Yeah.
Because they have no interest in it for whatever reason. It's
Yeah.
almost impossible to do that. But we're on Facebook, and we've got about 15 or 16,000 followers on Facebook.
That's amazing.
But those are the same people every day that
Yeah.
look at our stuff, and
Yeah.
they've already bought our stuff. They already subscribed to the magazine.
Yeah.
So, and we tell them to please share your posts with others and tell others about us, and give a gift subscription to your grandkids or your children or to your local library or your school. And we give a lot of complimentary subscriptions out to doctors' offices and stuff, but it doesn't really generate new subscribers, unfortunately.
Hmm. So when you were son, you and Don Devine started Lighthouse Depot and you had it for a few years, right? That's where basically the largest marketplace of.
No,
No.
actually, it was Kathy and I that started Lighthouse Depot.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
yeah.
Kathy and I started Lighthouse Depot, and then after we had started it, Don Devine came in as a customer and said we should have a mail order catalog.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah,
I said, well, we're doing fine just the way we're doing.
yeah.
We like our store, we like our magazine, we really don't want to, and we're already selling stuff mail order, so we don't need a catalog.
I say.
But he kept coming in and hounding us, and finally he bought into the company, and so we formed a new partnership. Before it was just simply Lighthouse Gifts, we changed the name to Lighthouse Depot.
Yeah.
And then of course we had the catalog that went out to millions of people. But as time went on, then of course we wanted to, after a certain length of time, Kathy and I were worn out.
Yeah,
So we decided we want to concentrate on the history of it in the magazine rather than the retail aspect of it. So we sold our interest up to him, and
kept the magazine.
we kept the magazine.
And then you guys moved to Chias from Wells, right, area?
Right, we moved up this way, right? We primarily moved. The only reason we moved up here is we were trying to save Little River Lighthouse.
Yeah, no, how did it come about with Little River Lighthouse?
Well, Little River was listed as one of the 10 most endangered historic properties in Maine, and everybody said it couldn't be saved. The National Park Service wanted it. The town didn't want it. Town of Cutler didn't want it. The state of Maine didn't want it. And Kathy had met a bunch of other people that came into the store from time to time, so they'd love to take it over and run a bed and breakfast out of it. But these people weren't qualified. They wanted to put they want to
put a bedroom up in the lantern room.
Yeah, bedroom up in the lantern room. And
Really historic.
yeah. And at that time, I was still president of the American Lighthouse Foundation. So I said, well, we got a few of our members. We came up to Cutler and looked at the lighthouse, and I said, we can save this lighthouse. Even though everybody else said it can't be saved. Of course, I didn't realize, there's no Home Depot nearby.
Right.
I mean, we're out in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
And so we took a lease on the lighthouse from the Coast Guard, and then we applied for ownership of it. And it was the first lighthouse in New England to have its ownership transferred under the National Historic Lighthouse Preservation Act,
That's
which
awesome.
Kathy and I did an awful lot of work on to get the application done, because it was still in a new process. In other words, the Department of Interior, National Park Service wasn't quite sure how to do all this. And the big guys like St. Augustine Lighthouse down in Florida, they knew what to do, and they got their lighthouse right off the bat, ownership of it. We're just little people up here in New England, I mean, we're not the big guys where they got 1 million people coming every year to see us.
Right.
And but we got approved, and so the ownership was transferred to us. And probably the biggest thing that happened was the terrorist attacks of 9/11.
Yeah.
And I was watching TV that night, and Kathy and I were watching TV, and President Bush came on, and he said, "We have to be a beacon of freedom to the world," in his talk to the nation. And I said to Kathy, I said, "That's it. We've got to have Little River Lighthouse be a beacon of freedom to the world." So I said, "We're going to relight that lighthouse as a beacon of freedom to the world." And it had been dark for 26 years.
Wow.
So just a few short weeks after 9/11, we did have a ceremony in Cutler. Kathy organized most of that ceremony. We had the History Channel there. CNN was there. Everybody was there to film it.
Big
And,
flag.
it was the largest gathering of boats in Cutler Harbor for an event in its history.
Wow.
We had Coast Guard boats, and the whole town was out, and we led wreath-laying, and so on October 2, right after 9/11, we relit the lighthouse as a beacon of freedom to the world. I called all over the country trying to get the biggest flag I could find. Well, that was right after flags weren't available. Everybody bought them all up. So, but I was able to locate one large flag that we put from the top of the tower down to the base and flew it. And of course, that drew all kinds of attention. And that flag is still there. We still use it today out there
That's cool.
for special events, things like that. Although we are now retired from Little River because we got it restored and turned it back over to the American Lighthouse Foundation so they could rent it out for overnight stays. But it took us 10 years.
That's what they're doing now, right? I mean, that's
right. Yep. Yeah. So people can spend the night out there.
It must feel good to see that happening. It's only growing, right? They're doing better and better all the every
Yeah.
year.
It took a lot of work, and that was the reason we bought a house up here.
Yeah.
Kathy says, "I'm sick and tired of driving 5 hours every day. We go out to that we go out to the lighthouse. We work all day out there. We come off the island with paint chips all over us and dirty. Go to the motel, take a shower, get something to eat, go back and work the next day, and then turn around, drive 5 hours back home to Wells." And she said, "This is crazy. Let's look for a house up here." So we found a house up here and sold our house in Wells, and it took a while to do all that, but to move up here full time. And that way we were able to work on the restoration, spending a lot more hours on it than we would have otherwise.
We renovated buildings here, so we have a little taste from the 1840s. My wife and I renovated them, and we realized it's definitely beyond what you think, of how much work it is.
Yeah. So especially when you're on an island.
Right, exactly. Oh, I can't imagine. We went, so my daughter Elle and I went last year. You invited us to go and visit, and it was just it's like as picturesque as you could think of. A lighthouse in the middle of an island, looking out to the ocean, and the colors too. How the bright, it's such a cool color. It's just, I love it. It's so unique. I've never seen anything like it before, and I want to thank you for that experience, and that's why I put it in my calendar this year for 2024. So I sent you a package. Do you happen to have it with you, or
we do have that package right here, sitting right here.
So let's open it up.
You told me we couldn't open it, so we've been we felt like kids at Christmas time, Can we open it up and not tell anybody? Go in the closet and look at the presents,
We were trying to figure out how we could retape it, because you put this Alan Claude tape over it so that we could.
But Little River would have been restored earlier, but at one point we had to stop the restoration. We ran out of money, and actually, when Kathy's father passed away, she gave his life insurance money toward the restoration of Little River. But during halfway through that, Prospect Harbor Lighthouse here in Prospect Harbor, Maine, was in danger of collapsing from the weight of rotted timbers in the lantern. So we stopped the restoration of Little River. Took that money, we put it into Prospect Harbor and saved it from collapse.
Right, because we don't have much time left. We got 11 minutes left, Kathy. So go ahead, pop it open.
Right.
Okay.
Let's get it open.
There's a bunch of little things in there. So.
All right. Well, that must be the bunch of little things.
Yeah.
Scissors.
And you could pull out the big print and just pull it out of it. And
Yeah, that's probably the most important thing to look at.
so what I told Kathy and Tim this, I said, if you hate it, just say you hate it, and then that's okay. I'll work on doing another version of it.
I don't think we're gonna say that, Alan. We've seen your work is attuned to the travel posters of yesteryear.
Yeah.
Oh, these are even autographed for us.
All right, pop it open, Kathy. We're ready for it. I hope you're ready. Go for it.
Right.
We're running out of time.
I can see through it a little, so that I can see that it's right side up.
All
Ready?
right.
The unveiling. Wow, look at that.
Beautiful.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, wow.
Look at
Check it out.
Kathy, you're walking on the
Don't
boardwalk.
even put me in it.
Little river light. So I love I just love the whole, I didn't want to focus just on the lighthouse itself because it was just such a part of the environment. It's so beautiful that I wanted to capture that. So it's off to the side there. And that lobster boat is, I think it was called we passed it with Ted when we drove by on the boat. We saw the same.
Terry,
With Terry.
the Terry.
Terry, yeah.
Terry Road.
And I just heard last year, I think the owner, the father passed away, but the son has taken over the lobster boat. I forgot, it was Excelsior or something like that, or I forgot the name of that boat, but anyway, I just thought I'd include it because it just shows the industry of the lobster.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
Very
you
nice.
see how you like the colors, when we did this, we did get a little flack in the early days from having the lantern, that green shade.
yeah,
And I said, we're good doing it the color green, because that would be historically correct. A lot of people wanted it as a black lantern. I said, no, it's got to be historically correct as green.
so it was always
So,
that bright green.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. They knew what they were doing back then, because that is the only, I mean, I know Canada has red things too, but like I've never seen green lighthouse like that, so I love it.
Yeah. There is a couple of them in Maine. I forget where they're all at now. Franklin Island,
Franklin Island.
which is kind of remote.
It's copper, like isn't that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody really knows about it. It's not the green, but this is we brought it back to its original colors, and it's 100% historically accurate. Let's put it that way.
That's fantastic.
And even the windows, we didn't put in fake windows. We put in windows that were wood windows that were historically accurate.
Yeah.
Everything was done 100% accurate, and of course we had trouble. The well was contaminated, and we had to get the well uncontaminated. But there was a lot of work to be done out there, and today it's think about it. It was one of the 10 most endangered historic properties in Maine that everybody said could not be saved.
That's amazing. That's true.
And now here it is on an Alan Claude poster.
It's
So
very
cool.
It's in the calendar for October,
And-
or actually July. See if we can do July. It's in-
July.
July.
So
Oh,
yeah, we could
great.
put a little promotion for Lighthouse Digest magazine in there. Maybe we'll get a few bites of interest, getting more people aware of how to learn more about the lighthouse history and get more awareness out there.
Well, we're going to have to find a place to prominently display this. I mean, I suppose it should be displayed at the lighthouse, but I'm going to be selfish and we're going to keep it here at our house.
So I made some book cards too, and I'm sending some to Anne, Anne Trapani, Alf, so they could give those.
Okay.
And there's an 8x10 there as well, a smaller version of that, just that they may
Nice.
sell. Exactly, at the lighthouse to help with the
Excellent.
fundraising stuff. So
The ongoing
Very
care.
good.
Sure. And the
Very
calendar.
good.
Well, Alan, this is fantastic. Thank you very much. And I think you did a great job on it.
thank you.
And I think once people learn the history of this lighthouse, it'll be a good seller for you too.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really happy with it. I'm glad you are too, and I hope people come and visit Little River and subscribe to Lighthouse Digest magazines. There truly is so many things in there. It's a walk through American history, really, like you said. Yeah.
Nobody else is doing it. We're the only ones left to doing it. So help us save that history, and you're helping save the history through the posters. And we're helping save it through the stories that go with them. So, and I noticed you got Ladies Delight there, which a lot of people don't know about behind you.
Yeah, I read on Wikipedia, it's the only landlocked lighthouse in Maine, but also east of the Mississippi River. Is that right?
Winnipesaukee.
Well, no, you got Winnipesaukee.
But is that a real lighthouse? Is that just a little tower thing? Right?
Well, they don't have lantern rooms on them, or lanterns.
Right.
So I guess this you could, I guess for all technical purposes, you could call this the only one.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, a beacon, like the range lights in Kennebec River
Yeah.
that's a lighthouse, but it's not really a lighthouse per se.
I know what you mean. Not
Yeah.
not in the real sense of the word. I got you. Well, this is super, Alan. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank
We
you.
hope that you do well with it, and say hello to your family for us. We met your daughter when she was up here.
Yeah.
I
So
hope she's
had
doing
her-
well.
It's kind of a strange thing. I had there's a story behind it. There's three things going on. You see the lobster boat lighthouse and the girl walking across. I don't know what convinced me to do that, but I think it adds more interest, I think. So
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured it was your daughter.
Yeah, we figured it was your daughter, but we're gonna
Even though we said it
it's
was
you,
me.
Kathy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I said we're gonna say it's Kathy. This is fantastic.
Well,
Do you have a high resolution JPEG image of this that you could send us?
yes. I will send it to you if you like. What size do you want it? Like 3x4 or 4x?
Oh, if you could do a 4x6, 300 DPI.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we could put it in the digest.
Fantastic. If you have any kind of flyers or anything, or we could print some off too in our printer and include it in our calendars. We've already in production. See, this is our production of our calendars right there.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
We have 6,000 calendars we send out, so that's 6,000
Whoa.
potential eyes, so that's,
I can get something printed up fairly quickly if you want, that
Yeah.
would fit inside there nicely.
yeah, exactly. So it's a 5x7 or 11x14 and whatever size in between you want to do to fit, in there. We could include it.
Okay,
That'd be great.
very good.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
Alan, I salute you.
So cheers.
Thank you so much.
Did a fantastic job.
Thank you so much.
We're gonna have to rearrange our house to figure out where we're gonna hang this. Our walls are covered with lighthouse painting except for the kitchen,
Yeah.
but I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, thank you very much. And we'll hopefully get them in the Little River Light as well. And Trapani hadn't seen it yet. I said, I gotta show this to Tim and Kathy first before I show it to you. So but I think she's interested in getting it to not Ted.
To Terry.
Terry,
Terry,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Big up to Terry.
watching that, so very cool. Well, thank you.
Excellent.
All
Well,
right.
thank
So
you.
much.
Thank you so much. We are honored and humbled to be the first ones to have it. And
Most
we
definitely.
will display it proudly in your honor.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all the work. Nobody will really know how much work you have done to make this lighthouse. And maybe it's just an inspiration to other people who have tasks in front of them that don't know how they're going to get it done. But the will is great. If
I say, just do it.
Just do it.
yeah.
Just do it.
Don't try, do it.
Just do it.
Take care. All
All right.
bye.
All right, Alan,
So-
thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. All right. Well, I think I recorded this, so that's good.
Excellent.
Bye.